I keep my greenhouse 75 degrees. That seems about a good temperature, so you don't really need to worry about a lot of circulation if you keep it that cool. The humidity is something that, depending on where you live, even here in Florida, in my greenhouse in the winter, because the air conditions are not going on, all the humidity is building up on the inside of the greenhouse, and literally it rains in the greenhouse. So, my office, my desk gets soaking wet. I lost so many good things that I've had for years in my career because I didn't know that that's what's going to happen in the greenhouse. It just got soaked and everything ran, and I was so disappointed. But so just keep that in mind if you're doing this in a warehouse like that. That in the winter months, that humidity, you got to maybe have dehumidifiers. You might have to do something to keep that humidity down. Or it might start raining in your place too. If you notice though, he had a front section of the warehouse where he had, the juice bar, the storefront, and then he also had his seed storage. You saw that, and some trays and some juicers, and his little packing station, his little weighing station, the refrigerators. I would think when you're getting into this on a big scale, you want a walk-in cooler. Walk-in coolers are just a little more efficient. It's bigger. It's not going to cost you so much. You start to get a lot of refrigerators, the electric bill gets pretty high. But the walk-in cooler, you can set up the little plastic sheets, you go in and out of it, and you can actually, with a walk-in cooler, you can store full trays of grass. You can have a rack that you can push in there, and it'll stop them from growing. This way, if you ever need grass in the future, you can have a few trays or sprouts, you just throw them in the cooler that way. And you put 16 of them in there in a rack one time, and it'll stop them. So now you don't have to worry about cutting them and trying to keep them stored. The walk-in cooler, you can rotate your product. So if you put your sunflower greens, your pea greens, after you cut them, you put them in tubs, or you put them in bags, then you can put them in that walk-in cooler. You can have them numbered and rotate them as you remember the number system in the greenhouse at Hippocrates. We just numbered things, so we knew what was the oldest, what was the newest, and we just kept rotating the numbers around. With doing it in a warehouse, it gives you the option of people coming to you, and that saves you delivery charges. That saves you insurance, and getting a driver out there and taking a lot of time. Coming to you also, you can think about this option maybe, a drive-through. Why couldn't you have a little window where somebody can drive up and ring a little doorbell? And then someone in the warehouse comes to the window, and there's a little refrigerator right by the drive-up window that has cut pounds of everything that you offer. And then it has also your little, your prepared fresh greens to give out the green juice bag, right? So now you even have that, the green drink bag. So you can sell them that. They push the button, they're on file right there, you know their name, we have your credit card on file, they don't even have to give you any money. And that's a cool kind of concept. And forgive this example, but Girls Gone Wild. Girls Gone Wild, when you buy the DVD, they send you 2 DVDs for $9.95. But what you don't know is every month they'll send you a new DVD and they'll charge you $29.95. They made $1 billion doing that because 50% of men don't cancel. They're either embarrassed, they don't have the time, they really don't care about the $29.95 a month, so they've made a fortune. That's how they get you to sign up on those things. They just keep reoccurring charges on your credit card. For them, it's money in the bank. I mean, the DVDs don't cost more than $3 or $4, so they're making a fortune on those things. So why I gave you that example is because when you're getting into this business, it's the same kind of thing. You find out what people need for sprouts, how much they need at home, how much grass, and then you set up a system. So where you have their credit card and you just reoccur. Once a month you charge them, once a week you can charge them. And what they can do is they can go on your website, right? They go on your website and they're guaranteed to get 5 pounds of product each week, or whatever, if there's 2 people in a household, whatever you can set up. But whatever pounds that they get per week, you can have an option on their website in their account that they can change whatever they want. They want 1 pound of wheatgrass this time instead of 2. They want 2 pounds of sunflower instead of 1. And they could change that. So now when you deliver to them, they're actually in charge of their order and whatever they want. But they get X amount of pounds. And then of course they can hit the plus button to up it if they want to, they're having a party or whatever, they need more. So the website, easy access to their account is a great concept. Have a website that has your store, that flows, that's functionable, that's easy to use. That's an important thing in today's world, is the internet connection. And maybe even on your website, if they buy product from you, you can have free clips of DVDs of people that teach how to grow things, maybe educational portions on your website where they can learn about this. You're not competition here. This is all about community, all about being of service, and how do we get the message out. So if you have this option on your website, maybe now you're encouraging more people because you have a little update. Maybe you have a blog section. Maybe you have a little healthcare question and answer where people can write into you and ask you a question. And you can send me an email and I could go on, and tell me, look, I got this question. Would you go on my site and answer it? Those kind of things. You keep connections, you keep channels open, and you just kind of flow with information. But website is going to be your key source. And then, of course, now getting out to the farmers markets, getting out to these health expos, and having your flyer. In the workbook, you'll see an idea of a flyer, a concept of how to do that. Put a little 3-page trifold. The 3-page trifold, 150% works. Okay, big brochures, like Hippocrates, that we have these big things, it doesn't work. I've done shows for Hippocrates, I've done shows for Optimum Health. Optimum Health has a 3 little thing fold out, trifold, it fits into an envelope. When I went to health expos and had those on the table, people grabbed them by 4 and 5 at a time because they can give them to their friends. They felt comfortable grabbing them. But when I had the big brochure for Hippocrates, I literally have to put free, take one, because people won't take it. And if they do take it, they're only gonna take one, because they think, ooh, it's so expensive. People are, it's like, oh, I just don't want to take it. I might throw it away, whatever, so they don't take it. So a three trifold works well for your business. And get them out as fast as you can. Go to these places like Whole Foods, see if you can have a little advertisement on their bulletin board. Go to health food stores, juice bars, and this is where you're going to advertise your business. We have to get there. So I just wanted to talk about microgreens for a second since we're on this slide. I think you're hearing microgreens, the term a lot, microgreens. But what is a microgreen? It's any small baby young green that can be considered a microgreen. It's younger greens. That's what it is, microgreens. So what's considered a microgreen? Well, look, all the things we're growing. Huh? Interesting. Wheatgrass, sunflower, buckwheat, pea greens, alfalfa, clover, broccoli, radish, arugula, watercress, onion, garlic, chia. All those things that just kind of young greens. So I'm teaching you how to grow most of them today. Those are still microgreens. Some of these other pictures, these little salads, these little buckwheat, watercress, clover, you have all these different things. They're microgreens. Sunflower is a microgreen, right? It's only grown for 8 days. That's a microgreen. So even though they're saying the term microgreens and making it complicated, it's not. It's the same thing that we're learning how to grow today. So don't confuse yourself when someone says, how do I get microgreens? You can just answer the question by, I grow microgreens, because I grow wheatgrass and sunflower and pea greens. So there you go. And I grow clover and alfalfa. So that's the definition of a microgreen. The DVDs, obviously, again, to have them for sale, to get the educational part out, I always like to have raw food DVDs, because anybody into sprouts or into green juice usually knows about raw food and wants those. So they kind of go hand in hand. Hence this workshop this weekend, right? So you have raw foods and then you have this part. It just works together, it flows. We filmed a bunch of Kelly's when she was down here, the former executive chef of Hippocrates for 4 years, and she tells her stories, and she, like Joseph had for you this weekend, she gives a lot of that great information, easy tips, not making raw food complicated, making raw food simple. That's the way I like to keep it, and that's why I call most of my stuff What Simple Is True. We keep it very simple. We don't get involved and bogged down too much with the science and the health benefits, because we don't really want to confuse people. Because if I tell you a health benefit of something, then really people use that again as their medicine. And they start to believe, that I need that particular food now because I have this particular illness. Well, any raw living food is a health food because it's not hurting the body as much. So greens are kind of your medicine. Keep that in mind. The greens are your medicine. The greens are what's feeding the cells, what's helping to fight disease, which is bringing more oxygen. So that's your medicine. Don't get too bogged down with defining food and science-wise as a health care, as something to eat to get healthy, or to eat because you have a particular illness, because then people will buy into that. And what will happen if you start spouting out those things and science facts is eventually someone it's not going to work for, and they're going to come after you. And now it's going to hurt your little reputation. That's why I stay very simple. I don't get involved with that, because in the years that I've been in this, whatever you can scientifically prove to me, I can scientifically prove you wrong. I've been in this long enough. I know the opposite exists. And I know what you tell me that this particular food does, it's not going to do for somebody, and it's going to do the opposite. So you have to be really careful of how much information you give out and how you think you can tell people that they can heal their bodies with this. We try not to use that word, it'll heal your body. We just say your body heals itself, and the food allows the body for that process. So that's all. The food doesn't hurt the body. And I know I said that a lot, but it's a really important message. Don't get confused, and don't say too much that it's going to scare people or make people blame you now. Right now you have to take the blame. You know, you can put a little thing up on, you know, when people watch these DVDs, you can put up a little disclaimer, just say whatever it is you need to say, but cover yourself. That's what that meant. Wheatgrass is Steve Merowitz, the book Wheatgrass, Nature's Finest Medicine. This is the older version, and there's your Himalayan salt lamp, right? So if you want some Himalayan salt, you just go lick the lamp, and there you go. You got some Himalayan salt in your diet. This is the older version. Yes, I am on page 117, so that's what we're going to have a little test afterwards. You got to know that. Steve is great, sproutman.com. This is the newer version of the book, and I am page 157. So write that down and keep that handy with you. He also gave me my own little article, so I wrote a little chapter of his book. This is obviously a little nicer picture than the one that's in the other book. Nothing, okay, good. So now we're talking about the business, which we've been talking about a lot. Okay, but I had to give you the first information. So it's time to grow your business, but not in a greenhouse, right? Again, greenhouse, not the best choice. There are better options, easier options for you, and save you a lot of money to do it in a warehouse. And let's face it, the earth already has enough buildings on it. Stop putting more buildings up. Stop putting the concrete up. We need more earth. So don't build anymore. Find some empty places. There's a lot of empty places. The economy is what it is. You're going to find a lot of great deals. As Douglas and I were talking, even if you wanted to open your own little health center, you know, find something, find a big house, you know, that's empty these days. You know, there's a lot of houses that are empty, and just find a house with 5 to 10 rooms in it, and there you go. You can start your own health institute right there. You can start your own sprouting business right there. Simple to do. We'll do that next time. We'll have a whole workshop on building an institute, and can't compete with me though. Don't do that. So. That's okay, you can do that. So test market. This is the first thing we want to do, is test the market. Find out if when you get into this business, you're going to succeed, right? So find out the need that's in your community, that's in your area. So how do we test? Well, we go to health food stores, we go to juice bars. You know, we find out what currently is in our area close by, and we see if they have grass. You can always get into a health food store and do demos and give out free wheatgrass. Everybody loves that. That's a great way to promote your business. Just talk to a manager of a health food store, see if they'll let you come in, figure out a little half-hour time scale, 3 hours to come in, whatever. But set up a little table and juice, and show people the hand juicer, because that will sell. And when they see it, you juicing with it, it is a huge selling technique to get them not only to buy the juicer from you, but now they can buy the grass, and that's really what you're there for, selling the grass, selling the sprouts. So go into your health food stores, juice bars, have flyers about your grass. Again, that little trifold that has colors, you know, it's really pretty, has great information, bullet point your information. You know, get it out there, very simple. Make sure you're telling them, okay, well, here's what wheatgrass is. Chlorophyll helps the hemoglobin distribute oxygen. Oxygen is the first thing you need. I mean, just get into the foundation of it. You don't need to get into great detail about it. Just get into the basics. Touch people on that simple but true level, right? Because a lot of people, you know, they don't need a lot of information. So keep it very basic, keep it simple. Try not to get in too much of the science part of it, okay? Fitness centers, right? A lot of gyms, a lot of fitness centers are now having juice bars right inside the fitness center. What a brilliant idea. I mean, as they're working out, as they're burning the calories, they're burning the carbs, they need something. That green juice is carbs and calories, as well as digestible proteins, which their body also needs. I don't know if anybody remembers the Hulk Hogan show, the wrestler, and they had something. The guy came in and wanted to get Hulk to drink wheatgrass, and now he was all into the powders, and he had to have powdered protein. Look, protein comes from greens, and it is digestible. A lot of powdered proteins are awful out there. They're full of sugar. There's a few good. The Sun Warrior is a good protein if you're going to use a powdered protein. But if you're doing fresh green juices, why are you doing any other additional protein? You don't need any other additional protein. You're doing fresh greens every day, fresh green drinks. And again, you can throw away, if you're doing these green juices, throw away a lot of the vitamins, the 1 a day plus irons, these supplements that you're taking, which again, your body's really not digesting too much of. So now, fitness center, senior community, good luck. But senior centers, senior communities, start to get the elderly, thinking about health. Or give them a free shots of grass, free shots of juice. A good thing to do when you're getting into this and you're finding someone or a business that doesn't have wheatgrass, have juicers that you can lend to them. In other words, give them a juicer. Let them use your juicer. Let them use your omega. And then bring them the sprouts and give it to them. I'll kind of treat it like a drug. Give it to them free, get them addicted, and then let them start buying it from you. But that's really what it is. So if I have some juicers, I'm going to give it to people. I'll have lender juicers that I have. And I have nicer ones for, if I see more traffic is going to be in there, I got to give them a nicer juicer. And then what you do is say, look, if it works, I'll give you the juicer at my cost. I won't even charge you. I won't even upsell you. You can have it, you can keep that juicer. So it's a great way to sell juicers too. And then you can tell the company that you're getting in and say, look, you just show my flyers out and I won't even charge you for the juicer. Just put my flyers out on your counter so when people come in and get juice, they know that where it comes from and they have some background on it. It's a great way to get your name out there. This other thing, office buildings, great concept, right? Buy the ice cream truck, remodel it, paint it really colorful fruits and vegetables and greens on the outside, and use your frozen coolers in there to have some fruits, fresh fruits, to make smoothies. You realize a lot of juice bars, they're not using fresh fruit. They're using that pumped up juice that's a high percentage of sugar, and then they're charging you for the protein powder, which is sugar. So you're really in a candy store when you go into a juice bar these days. Very seldom are they using anything fresh now. It's all from concentrate, it's all frozen, and then here it is in the little container all day. So be conscious of that juice bars are really not that healthy these days. Okay, if you want something healthy in a juice bar, tell them to make you a green drink, because they'll have to make it fresh. They can't let a green drink sit in that little container. They'll have to make something fresh for you. So that's something to get healthy in a juice bar, is a green juice. But now you have your little ice cream truck, right? And you have your little ice cream truck and you have coolers in there to have all your cleaned greens and fresh things that you want to juice. And you have your, maybe, I don't know, you have your masticating juice or your Vitamix or whatever you're going to use mounted right on your counter. And you pull into downtown office buildings, right? Where people are sitting behind a desk all day long on the 25th floor, and bring them fresh sprouts. Bring them dehydrated snacks that they can snack on, keep them awake, keep them healthy, keep their brains moving. Bring them juices, bring them green juice, bring them wheatgrass, but bring them fresh stuff. And you can also take that truck not only to your office buildings, but movie sets where they're filming movies. Find out, get involved with a company that does this. I tell you, people in that industry will pay big bucks to have your truck there because they're aware of health and they have the money to spend and they want that truck. They want to be able to get a green juice just like on the spur of the moment. So it's a great concept. I don't know what kind of music you play. I'm still learning. Farmers markets, green. We're going to get into that. I have that here.
No, but with your truck as well.
But you can do it with your truck. This way you don't have to unload anything. Farmers markets are all booths. You have a place where trucks are too. You open it up. You have all these stuff that they're cooking. Then you have your stuff, which is fresh green juices. A really good concept, good idea. Now I want you to think about this and forgive how this comes out. But have people that are attractive and that look the part, that look nice. Again, I don't mean that in any racist way, but it really makes a difference when you're selling something and your product is being seen by other people, and it's being seen more if the person that has it looks good or they're somewhat healthy, or and again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because I really don't feel good about saying that, but it really is what it is. Unfortunately, it's very true these days. And have that person as well, you train that person. In other words, train them so that they have the answers to almost everything and anything people are going to ask. You don't want your employee saying, ooh, I don't know. You got to train your employee to say, let me find that out for you. Let me see if I can get you that answer. And then they call you or whatever, and you have the answer, but you never want to say no. You always want to keep it flowing and let them know you'll help people. You'll do the best you can for them. So train that person. I don't know how you train them, but good luck. Give them my DVDs or whatever. You can go into massage or chiropractic or colonic businesses, right? People that are already in the alternative field. Give them the juicer. You know, for the colonics, they can do the implants now with wheatgrass, and give them the juicer. Give them a free bag of wheatgrass. You know, just say how it goes. Just tell them, look, here, you can have everything free. Let me see how it goes. You're never shooting yourself in the foot by giving things away. And keep that in mind. I know a lot of people have this feeling of, ooh, I don't want to give the whole. You're not. All you're doing is you're getting a lot of knowledge out, getting information out, and you're increasing your business. People like that. They like that when you're saying, hey, you can have the juicer, give it a try for a week and let me know how it goes. And if you want to sell it, then, you know, we'll split the money or something. I mean, you figure it out. So it's obviously it's not a big loss for you, but it works for them too. And if it sells good, there you go, start a business. Local library, rec centers, and you're not only selling this fitness gym wheatgrass, you're selling them sprouts, the green juices, right? Why wouldn't they do green juices for the fitness people? Have them make green drink, fresh right there on the spot, not just wheatgrass juice, green juice. Because again, you're working out, you need more when you're exercising. So a shot of wheatgrass isn't going to do it. You need that green juice, you need the carbs, you need the calories. That sunflower, loaded, carbs and calories. Okay, there's a lot in that green juice. I don't know if anybody felt that when you drank it, right? But it really gives you a little boost. And then it also will supply your body with the energy it needs to continue on throughout the day after you did the workout. That's a great thing. We're going to talk about the green juice because we have that question coming up. So the wheatgrass juice, green drink, sprouts, this is what you're delivering. And sprouted beans, right? Have little sprouted bean mixes ready so they can snack. The dehydrated snacks, amazing seller. You know that because it's easy to travel with. They package well and they retain their value. They're just dehydrated nourishment. And then you put them in your mouth and rehydrate them. And there you go, you got the nourishment again. Bam, it's alive, living foods. You know, we joked about it this morning, but soak your nuts, right? So even if you're gonna eat nuts, as long as you soak them first, they're pre-digested. They're easier. A lot of people say they can't eat nuts, but if you soak them first and then dehydrate them, they're light. They're easier for the body. The body enjoys them better. Peanuts and cashews are the two that we kind of try to stay away from, peanuts and cashews. But walnuts, almonds, all those things are really tasty when you soak them and then overnight soak them and then dehydrate them. They get the crunch back and you have a living nut now. Because everybody always asks, because I sell them and Kelly sells them when we go to the expos, and they say, what does this mean, live almonds? They expect them to see them dancing around or something, but live almonds, well, it means it's been soaked and then it's been dehydrated. That's a live nut. So soak your nuts. Makes it good for a good joke too. Once. We'll edit out the second one. Design a building. Okay, so we kind of already talked about a lot of this. So this is the good thing. We can kind of skim through some of these things. Location. Okay, let's talk about location real quick. Do you have to be in a location where there's juice bars and health food stores around you? No. Because even if you're getting into this thing and you're on the bigger picture and you're delivering to health food stores and juice bars, the cool thing about that, you can be anywhere. And you can drive, 30 minutes to an hour one way, and then the next day, drive 30 minutes to an hour the other way. So every day you hit a new city. And you can, let's say I'm in West Palm Beach right now. I can have Miami, Orlando, Tampa, and they're all within 2 or 3 hours away. I can take a big truck, load it up, and then drive there and do all around the city. Just do my deliveries one day. Every Wednesday I go to Tampa. Every Sunday I go to Orlando. Whatever you figure out a route system. So if someone calls you up from Orlando, they're a new juice bar, you can say, hey, I go there every Tuesday. I'll come there and deliver you the grass. So location is not as important as you think. Okay, location, they'll come to you, you hope, and the people locally will come to you and buy stuff, but you can go to different areas every day. So think about that. You can also get, I think Rand McNally does the map on your computer. And so all you gotta do is type in the address and it will literally map out the whole thing. And your GPSs these days, type in the addresses and it'll tell you. You can have an ending location, starting location, and just put all these different stops. It'll take you everywhere. So, it's getting a lot easier, a lot more convenient for delivery drivers these days with GPS. And I say GPS because a lot of people are like, oh, I never had a GPS. What does it really do? It is amazing. Get one. I don't know why you don't have one. Everybody should have one. Just don't leave it out in the car because someone will take it. So location is really not important. Okay, where you go and where you go, again, whether it's a business district right outside your town, whether it's, I don't know, it's in the woods, doesn't really matter. So don't think too hard about location. Just find something that feels good to you, maybe less rent, less expensive. The concrete floors we talked about, okay, always have concrete floors. Stone floors don't work. You're gonna be standing on them all day, you're gonna hate it. Stone floors are not the best choice. and wood chips or anything like that, because what happens, seed was going to fall eventually. It's going to fall down there. It's going to stay wet all day. You're going to get mud starting to come up, and then the seeds are going to start to grow. So you're going to end up, weeding your entire floor every day. And again, with all that moisture, eventually that mud's going to start to come through the stones or come through the chips. So cement floors is a must. If you can have drains in the floors, obviously that's a better choice. If you can't find a place that have drains, don't be discouraged. You saw how Hippocrates were doing it. For 10 years, we vacuumed the floor once a day. So it's not that difficult. You buy a $100 shop vac and just vacuum the floor once a day, empty out the water. There you go. Literally takes 10 minutes to vacuum a huge room like that. So you can do it that way. But concrete floors, drains in the floors, your walls in your building can't be sheetrock. If they're sheetrock, they're going to absorb moisture. So you want to make sure your walls are somewhat protected. They make a lot of different things. You can go to Home Depot and see a lot of different materials now you can put on your walls to protect them. Okay, sheetrock isn't going to make it, especially when it starts to get wet over and over again. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for a structure. You're going to have to redo the walls or protect the walls. And then make sure you have a little dip from the wall to the floor, a good baseboard, so water doesn't get underneath and then eventually affect the sheetrock. You don't want to worry about mold in the future. Shade cloth. We're looking at about 70 to 80% shade. That's kind of what you want to look for, 70 to 80%. And this is if you have to put it in front of a window where there's bright sun's coming in. So just get a little bit of shade, drape it in front. Home Depot's, everybody sells shade cloth. Your sinks, you can get stainless steel sinks. You can get little Home Depot $40 plastic sinks. It doesn't really matter. But the drain of that sink needs to go into the system, into the city system, whether it's sewer, wherever it goes. You can't, legally, you can't have that drain just dumping water out in the woods, even though it's probably just, your soak water. It's healthy, but they won't let you. Health department comes by, they're going to make that drain go into the city sewer. So just kind of keep that in mind. Anytime even the drains in the floor, the concrete, that has to also be going into the system. The soak water after you soak seeds, that water is amazing. If you ever want to get earthworms, I got a spot where we rinse our seeds all the time at Hippocrates. There are 10 million earthworms right in that soil. That soak water is loaded with nourishment. Don't drink it, but use it for your gardens, use it for your plants. Don't just dump that soak water out. If you have a place to do it, water your plants, water your garden. It is amazing stuff. You'll see earthworms come to you. If you have that water anywhere in your land, you'll get earthworms. So that's how you know it's healthy. Anytime you see earthworms, it's healthy. Sinks, okay, fans, vent, airflow. So you need some vents. We talked about that already. You got to have some circulation. Any kind of to replace the air in that structure. The racks, I gave you, it's in the workbook. You have the design to make your PVC racks. There's a certain way you have to make them, and you don't really have to glue them. Sean didn't glue any of those racks that you saw. I glued all mine. So the racks you saw in the greenhouse at Optimum and the greenhouse at Hippocrates, they're in there for life. You're not going to get them out the door. They're all glued together. But you don't have to glue them. I figured out a different system now. You can glue the shelf, yes, right? You can glue that horizontal shelf, but then just don't glue the vertical pieces, because they're not going to come out anyway. There's always weight on top of them. So those you don't ever have to glue. But this way you can take them out. You can take the shelves and then they'll go out the door. I learned that after 20 years. Thank you. Trays we talked about. The temperature we talked about. Dry storage is important, right? Dry storage, make sure your seeds don't get wet, and make sure they're in a rodent-proof storage. Make sure that rats and everything else, the animals, cannot get into that storage unit. Otherwise, it will be a disaster. You get one rat in there, pretty soon you will have 10 to 15 rats, and you're not knowing where they're coming from. And it will take you forever to get them out. When I was in Chula Vista at Sun-Grown Organics, they had their seed by the pallet in their walk-in cooler. Wasn't the best place to keep them, but it was helping to keep the rat problem down. Well, the cat would follow me into the walk-in cooler, and when I would take a couple bags of seed, here were these mice, and the cat would just wait, and literally 5 mice scattered one time in the walk-in cooler in all different directions. This cat, within 30 seconds, had caught all 5 of the mice, had 2 under each paw, 1 in its mouth, and 1 was cradled under, and it had all 5 mice. So I talked about cats, we talked about animals catching, I saw it, it was amazing. I wish I would have had video of that. So your dry storage, water we talked about, that shower head water, right, comes out like your shower head. Don't do that part of it. light and windows. So do you need all these windows when you're doing it? No, that's way too much light. You don't need all that. I mean, literally, if you had one skylight, that would be great. These windows are good, the side windows are good, right? Because you're not getting direct light as much. And you don't think about north facing, east facing, forget all that. Because if the sun comes in there, just put a shade up. So you don't ever really have to fight against nature, just there's ways to block it out. Don't worry about that too much. And you definitely don't want this. This is way too much light. That greenhouse has no shade on it. And even the stuff, again, that says it's white and it's protective, it's way too much light. It's going to be way too hot. Okay, so be careful with that stuff. Light windows, so there you go. That's that. Inside your greenhouse, we talked about temperature already. Never direct sunlight. If you do have to put up lights in Sean's Got Sprouts, you saw that he had, like what I had in the greenhouse, he had the fluorescent 8-foot bulbs. Okay, they weren't fluorescents, but they're fluorescent bulbs, but they're called the full spectrum, wide spectrum light bulbs. And you can call up lighting companies, use your yellow pages, call up lighting companies and ask. If they ask you if you're growing pot, just say, no, I am not. That's the important answer, no. Don't say yes. 5-gallon buckets are what we use at Hippocrates. You can use the 14-gallon tubs with the holes in them, whatever you found easy. With the 5-gallon buckets, you can do the bucket inside of a bucket. The bucket with holes inside of a bucket without holes. Put the water in and then just pull it out, it drains. So you don't have to keep dumping and handling your seeds. Exhaust fans, that's on top of the greenhouse. That flat hose, remember I told you about the flat hose? Miracle, that's a lifesaver. But if you can't find it in your Home Depots or Lowe's, go on the internet, type in flat hose as seen on TV, and you'll find it. It's interesting, and I don't know who invented it, but man, genius. And you can also, I think I found them at Ace Hardware as the flat hoses. That's that needlepoint sheet. We talked about that little needlepoint sheet to spread out your Group B sprouts. So after the Group B sprouts have been in the pitchers, your alfalfa, your clover, your radish, after they've been in the pitcher for 3 days, they have a nice long tail. You rinse them 3 times a day. They've sprouted. Now you can spread them out on that little needlepoint sheet. Make sure they stay out of the water. Don't let them puddle in water. That's the most important thing. If those little baby sprouts start to puddle in water, you're going to get a little bit of mold. You're going to get those fruit flies. So anytime you see fruit flies, it's basically because you have rot somewhere. That's what they're eating. You can increase airflow, increase air circulation. That helps with the little flies, but make sure it stays out of the puddles. Don't let those Group B sprouts puddle in water. Also with the flies, take some wine, white wine, red wine, whatever, and just put it in a little glass and leave it out overnight. That'll catch most of your flies. They'll become alcoholics, but you know, what are you going to do? Your concrete, there's other ways to get rid of flies. Don't do that. You can do that, I'm kidding, it's okay. Concrete floors, if you can get heated floors, if you live in a place where it snows, that radiant heat's the best thing to do. So if they can run the pipes through your floors before they pour the concrete, again, even though I hate to tell you to build anything, heated floors are the best thing to have. So if you can find a place that already has radiant heat, great. Drains in the floors as well. And the radiant companies work with your concrete companies. So your concrete companies know how to put drains, they know how to level the floors, and the radiant heat companies just work with them. Life Source Water, if you want a good carbon filter, a full greenhouse filter system, lifesourcewaters.com, lifesourcewater.com. The planting trays, small and large, of course you can get those at the companies, McConkey for the large trays, and McConkey is in Northern California, or you can get the small trays from East Jordan Plastics. I don't know where East Jordan is located, but they sell them 200 in a box. McConkey sells 60 of them in a box, and they ship UPS, so you can buy larger quantities, and always buy more trays. You know, you never want to run out of trays, of course. And if you're delivering, make sure you get the tray back. We talked about that. But always have trays, because you can sell trays, right? That's one of the things we're going to add to our selling list is trays. So don't worry about having extra. We talked about dry storage. You can use these big bins if you want to have accessibility to your seeds, to get to them easy. Just put them in these big bins, and you can just open up the bin and use cups, and that's how you can do your little sprouts for yourself. Location we talked about, and I like this because it shows you can be central and go anywhere. Right? You can go in location but then deliver anywhere. So I chose that little airline route. The dry storage, you want it large enough to make sure that a pallet can get into your dry storage. Everybody know what a pallet is? Okay, a pallet is usually 5 foot by 5 foot, but sometimes the seeds hang over the pallet, so just be conscious of that. Make sure you have a doorway big enough to get a pallet. When you start to get really big in this business, this industry, you're going to need seeds by the pallet. And you can order seeds and have the trucking company come with a lift gate and a pallet jack. This way you don't have to handle individual 50-pound bags of seed. I did that for years. I handled them. It kept me in shape, which I'm really sorry to say that I'm not doing that anymore, because it really did help me keep me in shape. But handling those 50-pound bags, it works your back. You really don't want to do that. It's a lot of effort. So if your dry storage area, you can have a truck that has a lift gate with a pallet jack. You can go in and out. That's what you want to do. Lift gate, pallet jack, very important. You also want your dry storage for your bulk trays, juicers, your buckets, your tubs, hoses, everything. Make sure it's rodent proof. Air condition it in the summer to keep the bugs out of the seeds. So seed storage, here we go again. I have to mention this for this DVD. Here we go. Seed storage, room temperature and dry. You don't want them too warm. Above 80 degrees is getting too hot for your seeds. With organic seeds, and if they have an egg in them, that egg's going to hatch and that bug is going to eat. It'll stick to a particular seed. It'll eat the wheat, it'll eat a few other things, and there's some seeds that it won't eat. But make sure you keep some kind of air conditioning unit. If you live in a place that's really hot for your dry storage, have an air condition for your dry storage. That will help keep your bugs out of the seeds. But most seeds will last a lifetime. There is one particular seed that doesn't for some reason last, sunflower. For some reason, sunflower seed, over long-term storage with sunflower, it gets worse and worse every 3 or 4 months. It starts to get bad, and you'll see less and less germination. You won't notice it at first, but pretty soon, after 6 months to a year of storing sunflower seed, you'll notice it's pretty bad. So sunflowers, black oil sunflower is the one that doesn't store a lot, doesn't store for a long time. With hulled seeds, remember hulled and unhulled? The difference between hulled and unhulled. Hulled is an action word, it's a verb, means you're taking the shell off, taking the skin off. Hulled seeds don't last as long. But most of the seeds we're dealing with are unhulled. So unhulled means they have a shell on them, so you don't have to worry about it. They should store really a lifetime. You shouldn't get complaints from your seeds as far as when people are buying them from you. You shouldn't really have too many problems with that. Have a seed packing area in your dry storage. So not only am I buying, 50-pound bags, I'm breaking it down into 1-pound bags. So I have a nice area where my seed is and shelves, and I can do all my seed containers. We're going to get into that slide, I'll show you in a second. But break your 50-pound bags into 1 pounds. And you can also have the option to go maybe 5 pounds or 10 pounds if you figured out a bag that will hold that without falling apart. This way you can just grab them, and this is how you sell them in increments on your website. People can choose whatever they want. Seeds are a huge seller. And everybody, soon enough, is going to want seeds. If my message gets out to these people that are talking about what's happening and people are starting to wake up, everybody's going to want the 2012 care package. So maybe you can even think about that. If this DVD, if we make it past 2012 and this gets out there, well, we didn't know it wasn't going to happen. We thought it was going to happen. But everybody's going to want that 2012 care package, right? It's a great seller. Remember when the year 2000 hit, we thought the computers were going to crash, the world's going to come to an end when the computers crashed. They were selling 2000, what were they calling it? What was it? Y2K care packages, yeah. So now, and for those people watching this DVD in the future, Y2K was the year 2000. Everybody was afraid that the world was going to come to an end because the computers were going to crash. So that just caught you up on Y2K. Not the wrestler. There was a wrestler, Jeff, whatever, forget about that. So, I don't know how long this DVD is going to last. Pretty soon, well, it's not going to be DVDs. This is going to be antiquated. You're going to have to watch this on your 3D. I'm going to come out at you. That was fun. Okay. The walk-in cooler I mentioned. Walk-in cooler is a great idea. Again, you can store products. You can have all your pounds cut fresh. Date them. Make sure you put your nice label. Create a nice label for your package. Make sure it sticks. And create nice labels for your stuff. Your product not only should look nice, the label should look nice. It should represent what you're trying to do. Anyway, have it so that your labels are colorful, but your labels also have information on them. In other words, your labels aren't just a label that says mung bean. It says mung bean, and then maybe it has a 1 sentence on sprouting. Soak for 8 hours, then sprout for 24 hours. Simple, right? And then it also has, well, here's what mung beans are good for. So it has some information on it too. That's a really great idea, great concept for your labels. In your walk-in cooler, you can also put not only 1-pound bags, you can put in full trays, you can put in tubs. Make sure, again, rotate your crop. So make sure everything's dated. You rotate everything that's in your cooler so it's not in there so long and it gets old. if you go into grocery stores or health food stores, you notice a lot of sprouts don't have dates on them. And there's a reason for that. They put the date on them, you'll freak out and say, wow, geez, that's been in there for 2 weeks. I'm not buying it because it's only going to last me a day when I get home. So that's one reason they don't put dates on them. But you want to be conscious. You know, and when we use the word organic, look, the word organic can be bought for a lot of money these days. You have a lot of money, you can buy the word organic. But I used a seed company that was called Country Grown, beautiful bags, 50-pound bags. I used their wheat. I used about 5 different other seeds from this company, Country Grown, years ago. And they sent me the certificate that said their seed was organic, and it had certified organic on the bag, beautiful. Well, 2 years I used their seed. And one day I called up to order more seed, phone was disconnected. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. This was the main company I was using for seeds. Now what am I gonna do? I gotta start all over. And it was a year later that I found out what happened. They were never organic. But they had a certificate that said they were organic, and their bag said it was organic, and they showed me all the proof that said they were organic. So take a deep breath. Again, relax. Do the best you can. So I thought about coming up with a different concept. What if we call our sprouts consciously grown? In other words, we're kind of awake in this world and we're growing them the best we physically can, humanly possible, with you know, consciously grown environment. Our employees are wonderful. You know, we keep music playing, you know, just something. And we change the term organic to something that means a little bit more. Because again, organic is politics these days, really. That's really all it is. You have a lot of money, you can be organic, you can pay for that word. And that's what a lot of companies are doing. They're just paying for the word. But unfortunately, to get into some of these health food stores, you have to have that word. Sun and earth, right? So we already talked about a lot of this. Classical music, secret life of plants. And again, what does it mean, vibration? Soil, vibrational. That's kind of the reason we're doing it. Heart, unconditional love. We kind of get the process. Earthworms obviously are your best composters. So if you ever want to get into composting, as I mentioned, you really don't have to buy worms. Just throw some stuff on the ground, you'll get worms. It's amazing, but they will take care of composting for you. So make sure they're around somewhere. I just wanted to show what wheat looks like. I mean, obviously out in the fields, you know, wheat, people think wheat fields. No, wheat's only about that tall. It's not that tall. And you get anywhere from, you know, 7 to 15 seeds from it. And the combine will chop it down, and then it will take the seeds out of the husks. So what happens is you end up with some cracked seeds in 50-pound bags. I mean, it's just going to happen. You're going to have a cracked seed. I mean, some companies weed those through better than others. And what happens with that cracked seed is eventually it'll mold. So people that say they grow wheatgrass hydroponically and then they juice the root systems, very, very few seeds that I ever used in my 20-year career have I ever seen grow and didn't have any of that bluish green mold down at the bottom on the seeds. Almost every seed out there will have some bluish green molded seeds. So anybody telling you that they're growing it hydroponically and they're juicing everything, good chance they're juicing mold. If they did find a seed that is growing without mold, I'd like to try that seed. I have yet to see it in 20 years. I maybe saw it once 19 years ago, because that's when seed was a little bit better. But you'll never see that. So you're always going to see like a bluish, greenish mold on the seed itself. We never worry about that. We never talk about that because it's not a big deal. We're never cutting into that. We're always cutting above that. So you never have to worry about that one. And it's that spot mold, that heat spot mold, that's the only one that's really damaging that you want to watch out for. Spiderwebby stuff, air circulation, wash it off. So the one, the bluish green, that's always on the seed itself. Don't worry about that. And it's going to happen because the combine's going to crack some. It's just inevitable. It might happen. Classical music, you know, if you wanted to play it throughout the day, it's kind of a nice thing to have in your warehouse, not greenhouse. So what are we going to sell? We're going to sell seeds by the pound. We're going to sell wheatgrass by the pound. So we got to figure out how much by the pound, by the tray, and we got to keep in mind delivery cost. So, you know, even if you sell a tray of wheatgrass for $10, if you deliver it, you got to add at least another $1 or $2 for your, you know, your gas, your time, your employee, your expenses, your insurance, right? We go on and on. So if somebody comes and picks it up, you have a different price. Now, prices are going to vary. Okay, I got into a little bit on pricing in this PowerPoint, but they're going to vary. So sunflower, pea greens, your sprouted beans, your seeds, 1 pound bag, 50-pound bags. You can also have 5, 10, and 25 juicers. A free juicer program we're going to talk about, the trays, the racks, small and large, DVDs, books, growing kits, soil seeds, trays, instruction, healthy juicer package, plan A, B, and C. Plan A, B, and C because people want it fast. They don't want to think. Nobody wants to think. So let's, for example, somebody comes home from Hippocrates and calls you up and says, I want to do what Hippocrates tells me to do. Okay, your answer is, okay, we have plan A for you, right? Which means you've already figured out what Hippocrates does. You know what they talk about, green drink, the 2 or 3 times a day, wheatgrass juice, 2 ounces twice a day. So you literally have it all mapped out for them. And here's the package that is all ready for you. So you have it priced, done. So they don't have to tell you what they need, you tell them what they need. There's, in this sprouting business, and Sungrown Organics is a perfect example, and they're in Chula Vista, Sungrown has to call their health food stores and their people that buy the sprouts from them, they have to call them literally once a week, twice a week to find out what they want to order. In other words, if they don't call them one week, they won't get an order from that company. It's weird. I don't know if the companies just forget about sprouts or whatever, but it's strange that it out of sight, out of mind kind of a thing. So you have to stay up with that. As soon as you start to get clients that are juicing it, they're going to forget about it. So that's why you try to get somebody on a billing plan. Charge them each week, charge them each month, and just keep sending them the product. Very seldom will you have upset clients. Very seldom will you have to deal with that and say, oh, well, you didn't cancel, we didn't know you didn't want it. So listen, you can have the sprouts, I'll just charge you for the shipping and we'll cancel you from now on. So there's ways around that too, so you're not going to piss anybody off, but just be conscious that a lot of people that are doing this healthy thing, they'll forget. And they'll just, it's just not in their thought process. I don't know why, I don't know where it goes, but it just disappears. So you have to stay up on it. Send them emails, whatever system you work out on your computer, make sure they're being reminded to order your sprouts or set them up on a weekly plan. Make sure you're getting it to them. So we got to figure out some prices. Let's do that. Okay, with wheatgrass, we're doing 1 pound of seed equals 1 large tray. The trays are 17 3/4, 18 to 18, whatever you want to call them. Some people call them 17 by 17. 1 large tray, 1 cup of seed, 3 cups of seed. Okay, 1 pound of seed equals 1 large tray. 3 cups of seed equals 1 large tray. So if you're doing it by cups, you're doing it by pound. That's just kind of the breakdown. 1 tray is going to give you about 2 pounds of grass. Okay, so now you figure out your prices. What does 1 pound of seed cost you? Well, it's going to cost a minimum of, depending on how much you're buying, minimum of $1 up to $3 a pound for wheat seed. So if I know it costs me $3 a pound, I'm going to get 2 pounds of grass. Each pound of grass now is going to break out to $8 to $15 a pound for grass. I only paid, let's say average of $1.50, $2, but I'm getting $16 to $30 out of that $2. So there is a good turnaround in this business. Obviously, this is because seeds have gotten a little more expensive, but that still doesn't really change the outcome because grass gets higher, right? The price of grass is going to get higher. I would never sell a pound under $8 these days. I mean, unless somehow you got somebody buying 100 pounds a week and you give it a deal for $6 or $7, but I wouldn't go lower than $8 for a pound.
Is up to your book?
This is in the book, and the PowerPoint's in the book, yes. This PowerPoint's in the book. I don't want to discourage you from buying this DVD, though. Okay, so it's $15 a pound maximum. So now let's say, well, I just have one client who lives on my route and he wants 1 pound of grass. I got to charge you 15 because I have to drive to your place. I got to go off my route, whatever. So it's going to cost a little bit more. 1 tray of grass, $10 to $25 for a large tray of grass. Okay, now this is large trays. These are the 18 by 18, the square trays, or the 10 by 20. It's a little different, but it's about the same thing. So kind of keep in mind that price range. Now $10 a tray is really cheap because don't forget they're going to get 2 pounds of grass with that $10. And each pound is a minimum of $8. So they're better off buying the tray, get your trays back. Okay, but the only reason I'm going to give you $10 a tray is because you're buying a lot from me. So I'm delivering to a Whole Foods and they're buying, 20 trays a week. Okay, 20 trays a week, I'll give you $10 a tray. But if they're only buying 1 or 2 trays a week, well, it's $15, to $18. So you have a price break. So 1 to 5 trays is X amount. So it's $15, $20, whatever. And then 6 to 10 trays, then there's another price. It just drops a little bit. And your lowest rate shouldn't get below 10. Your seeds, 50 pounds, again, $42 at cost. But 50 pounds of seed, depending on where you get them and how much bulk you can buy, are really going to cost anywhere from $50 to $60, $70, depending again on how much you're buying. You can buy a pallet, 2,500 pounds of seed. That's a pallet, right? 2,500 pounds. That's 50 50-pound bags. You can buy a pallet, you probably get your cost down a little bit. Now, don't forget, this costs $42. Half of it is shipping. So, I mean, even though the seed you think costs $42, no, it probably only costs you $30, but then you have to pay another $20 for shipping. So keep that in mind. Shipping is almost as expensive as the seed these days. That's why I encourage people to buy a pallet of seed rather than buy 50-pound bags and have them shipped to you. A pallet, okay, to get a pallet shipped across country, anywhere from $500 to $750 for one pallet of seed. So now I can get the seed a little bit cheaper. I pay for the pallet, that's a little bit cheaper than just getting 50 pounds delivered at one time. That's going to cost you a fortune eventually. So buying by the pallet is a better deal. 1 pound of seed retail, now this is retail, not your wholesale cost. 1 pound of seed retail, anywhere from $3 to $5 for seed. $3 to $5 a pound for seeds. Keep that in mind, that's retail. Again, seeds are good business. Take that 50-pound bag that cost you $42, okay? You're going to make a good profit just on the seed itself. You know, so that's what I tried to work out in, in wellness centers in the greenhouse. I figured if I can sell seeds to clients that are coming through, they're basically paying for the seeds that we're using. So we're getting free product in the greenhouses at these places. So now sunflower is very similar. You're looking at about 3/4 pound of seed rather than a pound of seed. So it's a little less seed per tray. Sunflower is a little more expensive, but it's less seed per tray and is going to yield a lot more. So one tray is going to give you 3 to 4 pounds of greens. So don't forget, it's seeds a little bit more, but you're going to get a lot more product. And that's important here. So now I'm buying it by the pound. I'm spending more money. So 1 pound of wheatgrass, you're looking at about $10 to $20 for a pound of wheatgrass. For a pound of sunflower, $10 to $20. So it's a little bit more expensive. You see the price difference. And one tray of greens of sunflower, $15 to $35. So again, now you're up a little bit in your cost. So even though the seed costs you a little bit more, the turnaround is also going to come back at you, and you're going to make a lot more money. 50 pounds of seed, sure, is going to cost a little more than double. And 1 pound of seed retail, $5 to $8, just depending on where you're buying it. So sunflower is going to be more expensive. Less seed per tray, but more expensive. So here's your breakdown. We won't spend any more time on this. It gives you an idea. Again, discount for larger orders. Keep that in mind. That's why I started that. So you start at a certain price, a higher price. The more they buy, the better retail, the better discount you're going to give them. And encourage that delivery. Set up a delivery system. Or some of the stores that you get into, you might have to call the stores and ask for the manager. Talk to whoever's in charge of ordering. But make sure you're calling them, keep your product out there, keep it fresh, keep it in mind, make sure it stays in their stores. Pea greens and buckwheat, we won't spend any time on this, but everything's broken down for you. Pea greens are a little bit cheaper, around the same price as wheat, I'm sorry, but ends up being a little bit cheaper in the long run, and you're going to get about 2 pounds also out of the pea greens, maybe a little less. You don't get as much, you don't weigh as much, depending on how tall they grow too. That has a little bit to do with it. So keep in mind that one tray might give you 2 pounds if you have tall product. You got shorter product, you might get less. So that's why it's important to have a really good seed that's going to produce you more product. So pea greens, again, really tasty. So again, someone says, I want the Hippocrates green drink package, package A. It's the Hippocrates green juice package. You have sunflower, you have sunflower pea greens, and then you have some cucumber, you have some celery. And this is the package that you put together for their green juice. Everything's cleaned, ready to juice. You just take it home, open it up, throw it in your juicer. So these are kind of cool things, cool packages to promote. You can have like the one-person detox package. Let's say someone says, hey, I want to do a week of green juice. Can you sell me a package? Yeah, I have actually a green juice fasting package, right? Why not? It's a great idea. You have the Hippocrates plan, you have the green juice fasting plan, you have a couples plan, maybe there's husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, they want to do it together. We have that package. Bless you. Alfalfa, clover, mung, lentils, adzukis. So now I have a sprouting package. Now these are your microgreens, right? Everything up here was microgreens. Pea greens, buckwheat, wheatgrass, sunflowers, all microgreens. But now I have alfalfa clover, and I don't have any pricing on these. And I don't have any because there's a lot of different pricings on them, and depending on bulk, depending where you're buying them from, this could change, it could vary. So you really, what I would suggest for these things, what I would suggest is to go into your stores, go into your health food stores, see what they're charging retail in your area. And with the seeds, you're gonna know the pounds and how much it costs for the seeds. You're gonna know that because I gave you that in the workbook. You're gonna get the price break of how much, you know, the seed companies cost. So you're gonna figure that all out. I just gave you the formula to work with, and then you just throw in the numbers. And being that we just talked about the prices for the other things. But go into your health food store, see what they're charging for this mung lentil, red and green lentils, and zukis. See what they're charging for that sprouted bean mix. If they don't have one, create one. And a lot of times it's not going to be a pound. In other words, the greens, these don't really green up. You're not selling them by the pound. Sometimes it's ounces, right? Sometimes it's an 8-ounce package or a 16 ounce would be a pound, but it's an 8-ounce package, 4-ounce package, 10-ounce. So you got to kind of go by that. So see what is local, see what they're doing, see how much they're charging. And again, put nice labels and put some information on those labels too when you're selling these products. Wheatgrass could have a great label, a lot of information on it, right? I mean, I gave you some of the handouts. If you bought the workbook, there's a lot of information on wheatgrass in there. So then you can put some of that, you know, bullet point, some of the things on your label. Maybe you can have like pets and wheatgrass on one of your labels. Maybe change your labels, right? So that all the bags say something different. So now someone looks and they says, oh, that bag says something different. Now they buy both bags because they want the label. They want the information. I mean, silly, right? But maybe that'll encourage them to buy more product. Who knows? So your seed packaging and shipping, you're going to break your 50 pounds into 1, 5, 10, 25 pound bags. Now you have options. Okay, containers versus bags. In other words, do I want to ship in solid containers or do I want to ship in plastic bags? The problem with shipping in plastic bags is they bust open. And if they bust open in shipping, now you end up replacing it. And for whatever reason, there's nothing wrong. It's still in the box, but nobody wants to clean it up. But it's still there. And what they probably say is it busted open, but meanwhile, they did clean it up and they don't, you know, they really don't need it, but they're complaining to you. So plastic, unless you get a really good Ziploc bag, be careful. That's all I'm suggesting. You can put them in Ziplocs, just make sure you get like a double seal and make sure people are doing it right so it doesn't break open in shipping. Your other plastic containers, Rubbermaid makes some, you know, the little containers. You'll see it in the DVD when I go into the Optimum Health Institute seed room. You'll see how we did it back there. And we had them in small, medium, and large sizes. So people can order small, medium, and large of wheat seeds or sunflower. Rather than exact pounds, it was small, medium, and large. It had the pounds on there. But small, medium, and large was a lot easier for people to think of, right? So we're not getting too complicated. We're dumbing down in America. Not in Canada, though. We're getting smarter over there. So, so depending on how you want to do it. Now, I did this to let you know, Uline, if anyone hasn't heard of Uline in the United States, they are incredibly cheap with everything. Bubble mailers, right? Bubble mailers to send out DVDs. I went into Walmart, who is the cheapest in the world. Walmart bubble mailers are $1. I got them at Uline. You buy 100 of them for 35 cents a piece. And they don't charge you for shipping. They charge you like $1 for shipping. It's amazing. I don't know how they're doing it. But for bubble mailers, for shipping out DVDs, books, whatever product you have, go to Uline. They're amazing. US Plastic is just something I found for harder plastic containers. But Uline might have a lot of that stuff. So check it out. It's really inexpensive. I don't know who they are in Canada. They're Uline A. That's a little Canada joke, right? Good, thank you. Your packaging, shipping, and delivering. All right, so I kind of try to think of, well, let's have a free juicer package, right? Now, if you went on your computer and you typed in freejuicer.com, guess what you're going to find? Me, because I bought freejuicer.com. I figured, well, what are people going to remember, right? I couldn't believe it was available. I bought it a couple years ago, but I couldn't believe it was still available. Nobody thought about this. But if I'm in a big lecture of, 200 or 300 people, and nobody can write things down, whatever, I say freejuicer.com, that sticks. You're going to remember that, right? So I bought freejuicer.com. And so now I'm going to think of, well, packages. So I have a manual juicer package. Now, everybody got the free manual juicer. Not the people that bought this DVD. Sorry, I didn't give them to you. What are you going to do? So you got the free hand juicer. The hand juicer is incredible. And we had a testimony, you already heard Douglas tell you about the hand juicer. I might have him write something to me. Actually, I would like you to do that.
How about the other things you can do with it?
Yes, write me your testimony, please. But that little hand plastic Lexan juicer, it's made from Lexan, which is a polycarbonate, kind of like what the Vitamix is made of, so it's a little bit more durable. The juicer has the screen on the outside of the juicer. I don't know if anyone's ever juiced anything, but by the time you make 1 or 2 juices, you got to take it apart, clean that screen, otherwise you're losing a lot of juice out the front. But with the healthy juicer, the screen's on the outside. So you can literally use the thing all day long, never have to take it apart. Just take the screen and just rinse it out, put it back on, but you don't have to take the whole juicer apart. When I go to health shows and I'm doing demos, I will use the same juicer all day long, never have to remove it from the table. It is an amazing machine in how it works. It looks like a toy, but it works like a champ. And I will stake my reputation behind that machine. I have had people, complain about it once in a great while, but you know what? It's usually because they didn't watch how to take it apart, how to clean it, how to use it. And so the first thing people do is they get home, they take the little cup that goes on the side of the machine because the juice comes out the back. They take that cup, they put it in the front of the machine. So now they're juicing, and obviously juice is getting all over their counter, and they think it's leaking, it doesn't work, but the juice is supposed to come out the back. That's why the cup goes on the side. It catches the juice that comes out the back. But it's something simple like that. So, you got the people that are going to get frustrated. But I will say this, when I do health expos and I sell about 30 of those machines, and 2 years later I'm at that health expo again, someone will come up to my booth and say, hey, I bought that machine about 2 years ago. I haven't even used it, but I don't want to return it. And they never opened it, but they still want to keep it because it's priced so cheap. I mean, $45 to $50, nobody complains. And it's something affordable, right? Because now it promotes your business. Your business is grass and greens and sprouts. That juicer saved a lot of this industry of people that are in this because now people can afford it. Otherwise, people are buying these electric machines, spending anywhere from $500 to $200, depending on what they're using, but they're expensive. But now they can spend just $45, $50. And it's a hand juicer, so you know what that means? You're putting your life back into your food, your vibration. Remember the intent to prepare the food. So now you're making it, and your kids can get involved in it. They can do the juicing. It's a good family thing. It's good exercise. You get your blood circulating. Another good thing by doing this, the motor never goes bad, right? That was a joke. Bob, can you put a laugh track on this too? Because I'd really appreciate that.
We could do anything.
That would make it funny and yes.
Did anybody ask you while you're juicing, like, how come you don't wash it, or do you rinse it out as you're
Don't need to.
At Hippocrates and Optimum, they do rinse it off before they juice it, only because we're cutting so much so fast. Once in a while, there's a little bit of soil that falls down from the tray above it. Or a little bug gets in it. It's inevitable. So we just ask them to kind of be cleanly and just keep an eye on that. But when I'm doing it at shows, I know what that grass is. I took my time, I prepared it. You don't have to rinse it off when you grow it at home, no. It's just on a large scale. You just gotta keep an eye on what you're doing. But you don't have to rinse it, no.
I meant the juicer. Like the juicer.
Oh, the juicer.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
People ever say, well, aren't you going to rinse it off if it's been a while?
Oh, usually at the shows, it's never been a while. I mean, it sits there for 5 minutes at the most before someone's coming up and wanting more juice. Yeah, so you're constantly using it. What I do when I travel with the big stainless steel electric juicer, I'll go to an expo, I'll juice 300 ounces throughout the day, and then I'll take that electric juicer, I'll put a sheet over it, and it's still sitting there, right? The pulp's still in it, it dries up, it smells. I'll come in the morning, because I won't clean it. I'll come in the morning, I'll take the sheet off, and I'll just run some grass through. I'll do about 3 or 4 ounces just kind of to clean it out and push grass through, and it's stainless steel, I don't have to take it apart. So I use it for 3 or 4 days, I just run grass through in the morning to clean it. So there are other options. And a lot of people say, I don't want to take the juicer apart. This one, once you get used to it, I can clean it in a hotel sink. It takes 3 minutes.
Not even that long.
Yeah, it's really simple. You can put it in the dishwasher, but don't heat dry it. But I've dropped it on the concrete, and it doesn't break. So it's a really great machine. And then you can get into giving this machine away because it's so cheap. You start buying them in bulk, they come 8 in a case. Now you can give them away, right? Why not? It's a great freebie. It really doesn't cost you that much when you're buying them in bulk, retail, right? So it's costing you $27, $30, whatever. and you give it to somebody. Now it's going to encourage them to use it, and now they're going to buy the grass from you. So let's say I have a free juicer program that if they sign up for my product for just 1 month of my product, so once a week I'm going to bill their card, but the first payment I'm going to take from them is going to include this juicer, just in case they flake out and they don't want to do it or they yell at me. At least now I haven't lost the price of the juicer. But then the last shipment on the 4th week, I just send it to them for free because I've already kind of took out the juicer cost. So there's a way so you don't lose your juicer cost, just in case. Got to cover you. And so I'm going to give you 4 or 5 pounds. You figure out what you want to do. 4 or 5 pounds of product per week. You can mix and match. You can order online, over the phone. We already talked about that. They can pick whatever they want. They get 4 or 5 pounds a week, and they'll get the juicer free. Why not? It's not free because obviously it's absorbed into your cost. You know how much you're making for the product, so it's never free. But people just like to hear they're getting something for free. It's nice. And give them a free pen or a t-shirt or something. So now I have free juicer package B. I sign up for 3 months, right? So now I sign up with you for 3 months. I'm going to get greens every day. I'm going to get a free electric juicer. Wow. Free electric juicer. Yeah, but I'm making 3 times the cost, so I'm going to make about $200. So this juicer only cost me wholesale $200. The Lexan is even cheaper. I wouldn't suggest the Lexan all the time. I won't support the electric juicer, the Lexan. I'll support the hand juicer, but I don't really put my name behind the electric. I like the Omega 8006. It's been around longer. It has a better reputation. Unfortunately, the Lexan, it's really cheap. I mean, they were selling them for $149. Now it's $179. It works, and if you're just careful with it, use it, and it will last. But there's people that were burning out the motor, that were just jamming it and just didn't really know how to use it. They weren't patient. So there's too many kind of that going on with that machine. So I stuck with the Omega. But if they buy the 4 or 5 pounds a week, we'll give it, and they can mix and match, same thing, free electric juicer. So these are just kind of ideas, concepts of how to promote your business. Now, the Lexan juicer, $45. $50 retail, depending on where you are in your market. In Canada, what, 60, 65, depending on where you get it. It depends. I mean, your dollar's about the same as ours now.
Yeah, shipping costs are up, but what I do is at $65, they get the first tray of wheatgrass free.
There you go. There you go. And that's another good thing, right? If they buy the juicer, you give them something free to get, and why not? That pound of wheatgrass cost you 50 cents, but for them, it was going to cost them $10. So that's another good, that's a great promotional thing. Give them a bag of seed. You know, whatever. I did that at the health shows. They buy a juicer from me at the show. I give them a free pound of seed. Well, a pound of seed only costs $2 or $3, but to them, it's something free. It gives them a little freebie, and they like that. Now, I put some of these other juicers, and this is all in the manual in that book that you got as well, just to know that they're out there. They are not as good as this little Lexan. And in 20 years, I'm telling you, this Lexan juicer, this manual juicer, healthy juicer, out of 1 pound, I'll get over 13 ounces of juice. If I put that same pound through the tornado, through the hurricane, through any other wheatgrass juicer, I'm going to get anywhere from 8 to 10 ounces. But this one, I'm going to get almost 14 ounces. And let's face it, your ounces is your cash. That's your money. You know, that's your gold. So you want to get the best juicer. Now, these are just other machines. Some of them are stainless. The G160 just came out from, I don't know how much they charge. From NutriFaster. NutriFaster bought the big stainless steel juicers that we use at Optimum and Hippocrates. NutriFaster bought this company. It was called the OptiFresh juicer, and it is all stainless. It is the top of the line wheatgrass juicer. If you want to do 500 ounces in a day, you can do it with that machine. The retail of that, I have it in here, I'll show you. But anyway, they came out with a hand juicer, the G160. The Lexan electric, there you go, $179. The Samson is also a single auger juicer, about $229. The Omega, about $299. That's the new one, 8006. They have other Omegas. You know, they have the 8004, 8005. They work. They're all pretty much the same machine, just a little different color, different look to them, more warranty on the motor. The Huron and the Omega, the vertical juicers. I don't get why they did this. Because why are you reinventing the wheel? We already have a single auger juicer. Now they went this way with it, and they say it's good, but it's more expensive, and I'm not really sure how great it works. You got people, you got some people are saying it's great. You got some people saying that it doesn't work so well. So again, mix match about those things. I can't.
But not for wheatgrass.
Again, and there you go. So not for wheatgrass, but I can use this one for wheatgrass, and I could go back and use the Lexan and the Samson for wheatgrass. So again, why are we inventing the wheel, and why are we making something that's not good for wheatgrass? Because that's one of the reasons people want to buy a wheatgrass juicer. Yes, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that, buddy. You're the best. The Green Star is the twin gear juicer. In 20 years, I have yet to have somebody come up to me and say, oh, I just love my twin gear juicer. I make green juice and wheatgrass with it all the time. I love it. I never heard that. And I'll tell you why I never heard it. First of all, the price of the Green Star twin gear juicer is expensive. The Green Star, Green Power, Green Life, Green Pro, all these twin gear machines, there's a million of them. Okay. However, if you are a chef, you'll hear probably Joseph say this, or some of your other raw food chefs in the industry, the twin gear is a great machine. If you are a raw food chef and you prepare food all the time, yes, the twin gear is a good investment. But if you're making green juice and wheatgrass, I wouldn't get the twin gear. You don't need to spend that much money. There's a lot more parts. It's harder to take apart and clean. You have to be a lot careful with that housing, because you put that pulp outlet screw and you put wheatgrass in there, you could crack that housing. So you really have to be careful with it too. And if you do wheatgrass with the twin gear machine, you will get foam. Because the twin gear machine cuts the wheatgrass into pieces before it juices it. In other words, it cuts it, it dices it. So it allows more oxidation when you're juicing it. That's what that foam is. The single auger juicers, when we went back to these, okay, these single auger juicers and these single auger juicers, they take the grass and they wring it out. They take it and just kind of wring it like a wet rag. Now, I can share something with you. Whatever juicer you are using, if you've heard of the Norwalk juicer, the Norwalk is a $3,000 juicer, but it has a hydraulic press attached to it. It still is a cutter, it's still going to cut everything, but it cuts everything and catches it in a nylon seed cloth bag. And then you take that nylon seed cloth bag, you fold it over, and you put it in this hydraulic press. And under pressure, it literally gets 100% of the juice out of your pulp. I mean, it is a great machine. Still won't do wheatgrass, but it'll do it okay. It is not doing it great. But it is an amazing machine, that hydraulic press, but $3,000. So I can now turn your juicer, whatever juicer you saw me just demonstrate or show you, I can turn your juicer into a Norwalk, and I'll tell you how to do it. Buy a nylon seed bag, the little nylon seed bags, you know, whatever, anywhere from $7, $5, $10, whatever they cost. Buy a nylon seed bag. And whatever juicer you use, from the Champion to the Super Angel, whatever machine you use, catch the pulp of that machine in that nylon seed bag. And then, when you're finished, take that nylon seed bag and wring it like a wet rag. That's your hydraulic pressing action. You will get, literally, sometimes up to 20% more juice if you do that, from any machine that you use. Now, don't buy into, oh yeah, but the Green Star uses magnets and it lasts longer and it goes slower. Great sales pitches, and they'll have the science to even prove it. But let's face it, what are you doing? I mean, if you're using a slow-moving machine, it's going to last longer. That's what that masticating machines do. Every one of the single auger juicers I showed you are slow-turning machines. They will all do that same thing. Your juice will last longer in a slow-turning machine. Your juice doesn't last as long in the Jack LaLanne, Jay the Juice Man, those centrifugal cutters. Doesn't last as long in those. Won't last as long in a Vitamix. Remember we said, Vitamix isn't a juicer. So we got to really be careful. These masticating juicers have that screw-like looking auger. That's what you want to use. I put the Super Angel up here, the stainless steel twin gear machine. That is the monster. That is the best of the best twin gear machine out there. Again, if you're a raw food chef, you're going to get into doing demos, I would tell you to get that machine. It's expensive, but it'll last you it's a great machine. Now this Miracle stainless steel 575, that's if you're doing small shows, doing small demos of just wheatgrass. Not really a green juicer. Okay, your omegas and these machines, those will do green juices and wheatgrass. Okay, but these particular machine, the Miracle, you really just want to do wheatgrass with it. It'll say it'll do other things, but it won't do them as well. So just wheatgrass, and it's a stainless steel machine. It doesn't make a lot of noise. It has a reverse switch on it. It's a little price high, but for small demos or for health food stores that are just doing small amounts, that's the machine I would tell you to get. These machines, all three of them, I would never tell you to use. The Watinas. And unfortunately, Hippocrates used Watinas. What happens is that the guests would come in, they would start juicing their wheatgrass, the machine would freeze, and the guests would walk away from it. Meanwhile, the machine was still on. So they went through literally a new machine, back then it was about $600, They went through a new machine almost every couple months. They had to buy a brand new machine because they kept burning out the motors. So they froze up. And plus, if you look at these machines and the detail of them, it will say stainless steel. They're not stainless steel. They are cast iron with a tin plate. And what happens is if you don't clean them and dry them, they will eventually rust. And it says stainless steel, but if you read the fine print, it says one of the parts is stainless steel inside the machine. But it says stainless steel, so that's how they get away with it. The Workhorse, I've used it. It's a great machine, but you have to be conscious that it does lock up and it freezes. So I wouldn't recommend any of these. These are really expensive for how slow they go. It's not worth it. Now, these are your top of the line babies. This is the best of the best. Your G160, your OptiFresh, this is the old version, the old style of it, and then the brand new one. This is the ones that we're using in most of your wellness centers, the people that are going in there. I can have literally 100 people in one day use that OptiFresh, and it won't stop, you won't break it, you won't hurt it. They really can't screw it up. I mean, that's the great thing about it. It'll just keep going and going and going and going. You won't hurt the machine. There's nothing you really need to do to it. This one just has a different look to it, a green casing, so some people like that. But that's about your retail cost of all these three machines. Anyway, those are the best of the best, and these are all stainless. They're stainless steel, and the motors will last forever. The one I'm using I've had for 10 years, and it just keeps going and going. The ones I put in Hippocrates, I put them in 10 years ago. And that's Hippocrates. That's where people, the guests, are coming in there all day long and using them. Put them in there 10 years ago. The only thing I ever had to change in them is every like 2 years or so, or 3 years, I have to change the auger. I got to put a new auger in them. But that's it. They'll keep going and going. So those are the best. Someone asked me about green juice. Here you go. I got my plate of greens. I put it through the Omega, and I got a nice green juice. Any kind of greens. It doesn't have to be a particular green. Sunflower greens, pea greens, good protein sprouts. Okay, but it could be any kind of green. How I would do a green juice fast, personally, I would try to make a pitcher of green juice in the morning or in the evening. Make it comfortable for you. Yes, the faster you use it, after you juice it, the better it is. But I work, I have a life, so I would make as much as I can that I would drink throughout the day, and just make a pitcher of it, make 4 or 5 glasses of it, and keep it in the refrigerator, cold refrigerator. Squeeze a half a lemon in there, keep it fresh. A little raw, unheated honey also will keep it a little bit fresher. But you're looking at about 24 hours. So if I made it in the evening, I have enough for tomorrow, all day. If I make it in the morning, that's where I have more time, then I have enough for the whole day. But try to keep conscious of that, make enough for the whole day. Travel with a little, to work, you have just a little thermos, right? You have just a little thermos, that a coffee in it, you got your green drink in it. And put it in the refrigerator at work when you get there. Again, don't tell anybody you're doing it. If you want to do a juice fast, don't tell anybody you are juicing. And you can get away with doing as many days as you want. So I would probably do an average of anywhere from 4 to 6 glasses of green juice, depending on my workout, depending on how active I am. If I'm really active, I'm going to do at least 6 glasses of green juice in a day. That's a good green juice fast. Some people pick 1 day a week and do a juice fast, just to kind of keep their bodies prepped, to keep their easier for digestion, allow your body to rest. It's a day of rest for your body when you're not taking the fibers in. So green juice fasting, anywhere from, again, about 4 glasses, 6 glasses for a day. If you're doing your fresh shot of wheatgrass in the morning, again, never do more than 2 ounces at any one time of wheatgrass. 2 ounces of wheatgrass, equivalent to almost 5 pounds fresh vegetables. 2 ounces of wheatgrass is a meal. Doesn't matter the size, shape, height, weight, dimension, blood type, male, female, where you're from. 2 ounces is a meal for your body. You'd overdo it if it's a waste. You're eating too much, so you don't need any more than that. And if you want to swallow some water afterwards, you can do that. Suck on a lemon afterwards. Stay away from the orange. Don't put fruit with it. And most of the time, if you're doing it yourself at home, it's going to taste good. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be palatable. It's going to go down easy. You can keep the greens together again in this little mix. You can put some wheatgrass in that mix. There it is, right there. That's wheatgrass on that plate with the cucumber, with the celery. So there you go. Most green juice, a high percentage of green juice is cucumber, and then it would be celery, and then you're looking at your leafy greens, your sprouts. So when you go percentages, your sprouts, your kale, your spinach, all those dense things is only going to be about 30% of your juice. The rest of it is cucumber, celery.
And you can make these in that small hand?
Yes, the hand juicer will do these green juices. It's just going to take a little bit more time, obviously, but yes, you can do it. That was a good thing about the hand juicer, right? You can travel with it, take it camping. You can always get a fresh shot of wheatgrass. If you can't get fresh wheatgrass, then you're going to do this green juice. You can get green juice anywhere. So there you go, take it with you. So a green juicing fast, okay, throughout the day. Again, don't tell anybody you're doing it. You're getting plenty of nourishment. If you're working out, just make sure you have a little extra with you. I mean, have an extra 16 ounces just in case. But it will replace electrolytes. It's going to replace your proteins, your carbs, your calories. They're all going to come from that green juice. It's amazing. And then your digestible proteins, when you're adding the sprouts into it, you're adding the kale, the spinach, the cabbage, great digestive enzyme. Any kind of green you see in your grocery store, the leaves of beets, we kind of covered all this already. And that's a pretty shot a week. That's a pretty shot of green drink. And it'll all go through the Omega, the single auger juicer. If you do electric, it'll all go through that hand juicer as well. I took pictures of Sun-Grown Organics because, again, I'm a friend of theirs, so I can get into their operation. But this is their sunflower, and you'll have to see this on the DVD or in your PowerPoint when you bought the workbook. But they're not really planted thick. I mean, looks like there's barely any in the tray. It's really strange. And then all of a sudden they have a beautiful tray of sunflower. So they plant even less than I do in their trays, and they end up with a lot of sunflower. They have a really good seed, by the way. Sun-Grown sells an amazing seed. It's really expensive, but they do have a great sunflower seed. And in their greenhouse, they have a drip wall. A drip wall at one end of their greenhouse, kind of like a swamp cooler. So it drips water down the wall and it pulls the air through into that water, so it cools the air. However, that brings a lot more mold into the room. So I wouldn't recommend a drip wall. Air condition is the best thing to use, not a swamp cooler. And then they have everything on tables, and they have sprinkler systems. Because it's all one layer, you can do sprinkler systems. But you can't do sprinkler systems when you're doing rack systems. As Sean mentioned, sprinkler systems just aren't efficient. They're going to stop hitting certain parts of the tray. You're going to end up with uneven grass, with dead growth, and then you're losing money. That's your business. You can't even sell that tray. So Mr. Systems on, if you have a lot of land, a lot of space, and go ahead, put it all on one table. You can do it that way. And that's the way you can use the misters. They also do these little long skinny trays for displays. So let's say you want to get into stores. Well, you don't want to give them your fresh grass because it's going to go to waste. They're not going to water. It's going to go bad. So I give them little display trays, like little pet grasses. That's what they can use in their stores for the window. So they're not taking your actual product and putting it in there. Brilliant idea. So you can have these long skinny trays. You can grow them. That's what the stores can use for display models. And it sits right on the windowsill. That's why they're so long and skinny. It fits really nice. It looks nice. And there's people that have actually called up me for weddings, that they want these wheatgrass centerpieces for their weddings. And they're not even going to mess with it. They're not going to drink it or juice it. They say, it looks pretty. You can go to IKEA magazine, or some of these expensive furniture stores, and they're selling fake grass. Yeah. And now you look at businessmen in their offices, they have fake grass. You're spending $30 for this little thing of fake grass. You're not even getting oxygen. At least if they had a little oxygen machine in that fake grass, that would be kind of cool. Don't take that idea. What's everybody taking my ideas? But remember what I said? They have miles of my racks, because I built the original ones for them. They have miles of my racks. They just duplicated them. But I went down with a good friend of mine, and we built the first 13 for them, 12 or 13. We made it in one weekend, and then they just duplicated them. So biggest companies, wheatgrass growers in the world, are using my rack system. Because what they did was they had everything on one layer before. Well, one layer takes up a lot of space. When they realized they can put 4 layers, well, now they quadrupled their space, and they can grow that much more. So that's what they did. They took my idea. So, and now if they want to do, this is in this top photo, you're looking at, this is how they sell it to stores. They start it in that little plastic container that you buy in the store. They actually start it in there. And so now they can grow broccoli, radish, little microgreens right inside those little plastic containers. They start them and finish them right in there. There's the peas over here. It's sideways. Different sprouts, your clover, radish, garlic, and they grow into all those little microgreens. But they do them in the big 17 by 17 inch trays, and then they just harvest them from that, take them out of that. Or you can use this tumbler. This tumbler constantly turns really slow. It rotates, and it mists, it drains, so it constantly waters them. Those tumblers are very expensive. You can get them at, and I'm not sure if I gave you this information, ISS, International Specialty Supply. This is not in the workbook. International Specialty Supply. So now you have to actually buy this DVD just for that information. Right, there you go, thank you. International Specialty Supply has these tumblers, and they are really expensive. But if you get into this business on a large scale, that's the only really way to do it in the tumblers. We already talked about this. Always give your juicers away. Give them away free. Give them away at cost. Don't upsell on your juicers. I mean, you can sell them obviously retail online, have them for retail sale, but for businesses and people getting into the wheatgrass, give it to them at your cost. You're not, don't lose any money, but come on. They're going to be buying your grass, buying it. That's where your money's going to come in. And they're going to buy seeds and they're going to get into it there. So your money's going to come in. Don't worry, money's going to flow. Take a deep breath. And have a drive-through. Remember we talked about that? Have a drive-through. Somebody rings the bell. Done. Business ideas. Your ice cream truck, your drive-through. Remodel the ice cream truck, deliver it to office building, movie sets, colorful fruits and greens on the outside, your drive-through window, your storefront, have a juice bar inside. Put a little juice bar inside, make them come to you. And then might as well, I mean, you're already in there, you're already growing the product, get it out as fast as you can. Green markets, here you go. The green markets, farmers markets, whatever you want to call them. They're out there and they're the way to sell your product to the clients that you really want to sell your product to. These are the people that are going to buy health. They're there to shop, to buy cheap, healthy products. So now, not only are you selling it to them at the green market, you're promoting your business to them. So now they can get them from you anytime. You can set up a delivery. They can come to your greenhouse. This is a good way to get information out to people. Hand out your flyers. Pet grass was an interesting concept. Now, I don't know if anyone's aware of Bell Rock Growers. Bell Rock Growers make pet grass. The person that founded Bell Rock Growers, an ex-girlfriend of mine out in California, she wanted to get into the business. She was going to start growing wheatgrass, but then she saw a market in pet grass. She is Bell Rock Growers, and Bell Rock Growers is in almost every PetSmart, every huge pet store out there. She has gotten her name out there, and they ship little pet grass. Genius idea. And now, people are spending a lot of money for this, 50-cent little thing. They're spending $6, $7 for it because their animals like it. Interesting, people spend more money on their animals than they do for their own health. You can actually buy alternative health care for your animal, but you can't get it for you yet. I mean, to an extent you can, but you can buy it for your animal, alternative health care. Interesting. And so what does organic mean to you? And this money can be bought. We talked about this. You're buying the word organic. It can be changed to mean even more now. So all the laws to the word, they vary on soil testing and all these different things you have to do to get the word organic. Unfortunately, to get in a lot of stores, you have to have it. But to start out, you're selling, you're just getting into home use, you're getting people, whatever, you don't have to have it. Just tell people, hey, I grow it organically, but I don't have the certificate, I can't afford it. Just be honest. Just be honest with people. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to stay organic. A lot of testing you have to do. Your health department laws, I know Debbie covered a little bit of this. Everything has to be 5 inches off the floor. Got to be, because anything closer to the floor, bugs, roaches, rats, anything could live underneath. So everything has to stay off the floor. Employees, they got to wear those gloves and the hats. Always have a separate sink so they can wash their hands because they're cutting the product. That has to be visible. They have to be able to get to that sink to wash their hands. Some health departments are demanding that your area have a handicap bathroom, that your employees could be able. Weird, right? Handicap bathroom for somebody that's growing sprouts. But that's one of the laws. And actually a local grower here in West Palm Beach got shut down because they didn't have a handicap bathroom. The reason wellness centers do not get shut down for growing wheatgrass, this is the reason I want to do the wellness centers, because as long as they don't sell sprouts retail, then they're not open up to health department laws. You're coming there just to eat their sprouts that they're growing. Okay, so in the kitchen, yes, you have to be health department, confined in the kitchen, but the greenhouse you don't have to be, as long as you're not selling them retail. As soon as you start selling your sprouts retail, now the health department's going to come down to your greenhouse. So that's why I like wellness centers. I never had to get involved in the politics of business. I don't like business. I owned my own business one time. I will never do it again. I will make money for you. And as Sean was saying with Got Sprouts, if I stay on that board and it gets as big as I think I'm going to be soon, then I am going to be saying Got Sprouts in my lectures. That is the only company I am going to promote. And not for any kind of weird money, just because I know he's a good guy. And I was there at the beginning. He got me business cards. So that's the one thing I got free from. Oh, he gave me a shirt one time. I got a shirt and I got some business cards. That's what I got from Sean. Well, he's paying you too. No, he's not paying me. I do it because I know that's the guy you want to go to for your seeds, for your sprouts. And I want to be able to say that about your company if you're Got Sprouts, that I'm promoting you too. So that's one thing to think about. However he promotes it, however he does this franchise thing. But whatever happens, the name is going to get big. And again, I want it to be as big as you hear every other name fast food chains. This is going to be Got Sprouts done right. So some other things, you need a break room. To wash your hands, you need a separate sink. You can't wash your sprouts in where you wash your hands. So just keep that in mind. You need a separate sink to do that. What I would tell you in your area that you're getting into, if you bought this DVD and you're out of the state, you're out of the country, check your restaurants. If you know anybody in the restaurant business, talk to the manager and see what health department laws that they have to follow, the guidelines, because that's what you're going to have to follow in your greenhouse. So it's just easy. Just go with restaurant guidelines and you're safe. Stainless steel sinks, stainless steel tables where you're cutting everything on. The walk-in cooler, you have to have that little fan that blows down, or you have to have the strips to keep your bugs out. So there's a couple things you need to know. Soil has to be outside, kept separate from where you're cutting. Just kind of keep that in mind. We talked about that already. Walk-in cooler to plastic doors. Petty cash to pay off the inspector. I don't know if anybody caught that. You have some petty cash around, so when the inspector comes by, you slip them a couple bucks. And we're going to keep that in. No, don't edit that out. Keep that in. That's important. And this little thing over here is a smiley face. That's my trademark. I put that on a lot of my emails because let's face it, emails are very impersonal. And you don't get a tone, you don't see people. And that's why remember we talked about this big disconnect in the world. A lot of because people are going and they're trying to find love on Facebook. And you can't find love through Facebook. I'm sorry. There's no truth to that. You can't find real hearts. You can't look at somebody in the eyes. You can't sense them. You can't feel them. You can't understand that the mannerisms have everything to do with a relationship. Everything. You can see it in somebody's eyes. So be careful. Don't look for love on Facebook. You know, when I was crushed a couple months ago, I went on Facebook to try to be happy. All my friends would encourage me, and they did. But it wasn't real. I know their hearts are real and where they're coming from is real, but it wasn't real. And I was still having a hard time. Even though I would go there and I'd read all these happy compliments, I was still having a hard time. So the technology fasting is really important. Next year, again, Facebook fasting. And there you go. Stay off of it for a while. And I took myself off for the 1 week, but then of course you go right back on. You always want to see what people are doing for some weird reason. Maybe it's a little bit of voyeurism, you know, that you go on Facebook just to see what other people are doing. It's really strange, the addiction to it. But it is a good way to social market. I hate to still say that. It is a good way to social market, to get your product out. Facebook is a good way to do it. You can go into the raw food markets, Hippocrates markets. Get an ad in Hippocrates magazine. Their magazine goes to everybody. They have a great magazine. Buy an ad. Put your little business in their ads. Why not? In their magazines. I mean, it's going to cost whatever they cost, but you know what? It's going to go to a lot of people out there. You'll see Got Sprouts in their magazine. Right? And they're not even a part of Hippocrates, but Hippocrates doesn't care. You pay them the money, you get the ad in the magazine. That's all they're looking for, and cover their cost. So you can put an ad. I'm going to put my wellness center in their magazine. I'm going to. I mean, why not? They just want the money for the ad. And again, it reaches people. Brian himself will tell you, open up a center. He doesn't stop you from doing that. He encourages you because there is no competition for Hippocrates. Hippocrates is a niche, man. They know what they're doing. I'm still going to send sick people to Hippocrates. But that doesn't mean I can't open up a wellness center that's going to succeed, especially in this day and age. Look, everybody else in the market, in the industry, they're going down. The economy is what it is. But wellness centers, people are still getting sick. That's why you're getting into this business. You are the heart of wellness centers. This weekend workshop was the heart of wellness centers. A lot of the information I was giving you information to be able to preach life, to preach health, wellness, to let people know that they can get better by just getting off the standard American diet. You want me to give you a diet plan? I'll give you a diet plan anybody can do right now. First of all, for breakfast, okay, breakfast, cereal. Never meant to be a 5-course meal. Don't eat a 5-course meal for breakfast. Have a little bowl of grain, if you even eat anything. Have a little bowl of grain for breakfast. A green drink for breakfast, maybe 8 to 16 ounces, depending if you're going to go work out. 8 to 16 ounces of a green juice and a shot of wheatgrass. 1 to 2 ounces of wheatgrass juice. That is breakfast. Listen to this. If you do this for 1 week, I guarantee you. Most people, if they want to lose 5 pounds in 1 week, just stop eating dairy. You can lose 5 pounds in 1 week just by cutting out all your dairy products for 1 week. You'll lose about 5 pounds. So now I want someone to stay on some kind of a healthy diet. I created green drink in the morning, a shot of wheatgrass, and maybe a quinoa, millet, just a little cereal grain. That's it. Don't eat a 5-course meal for breakfast. You eat a 5-course meal for breakfast, you have destroyed your body's chances of healing for that day. You're done. In other words, all your body's going to do is try to digest the food. And what happens when you eat a lot of food fast, which we do, right, in the American culture, we eat food fast. We engulf food, we inhale food, we swallow food. Your stomach is as big as your fist. So you ate food that fast, you expanded, you stretched your stomach. Okay, listen. Now that your stomach is stretched, your digestive juices, they start digesting that food. It takes a long time because you didn't chew it enough, right? So it takes a couple hours now. But in a couple hours, it's digested a little bit of that food. What that means is your stomach is still expanded. And it's digested some of the food. So now it's left empty pockets in your stomach, which create hunger. I know for a fact in my personal life, if I eat a 5-course meal for breakfast, look, once in a while I do. I get suckered in. I get a free buffet at a hotel, and I want to take advantage of it. Don't you ever feel that way? You know, somebody gives you something free, it's like you got to go do it. Even though you don't want it, you just got to take it for free. So sometimes I eat that 5-course meal for breakfast. If I do, personally, I'm hungry all day. And the opposite happens. If I just do what I normally do, I usually don't have anything for breakfast, let alone I don't even have green juice or wheatgrass, but that's me, I'm in a different level, don't follow me. But if I had that green juice or whatever, just that little thing for breakfast, I'm not hungry all day. Nor do I even think about food all day. As a matter of fact, the only time I think about food is if I'm standing next to somebody and they're telling me how hungry they are. That's the only time I'm thinking about food. That's why I don't have any friends in my life. Take a deep breath. You can be my friend. Everybody buying this DVD, will you send me an email? Just be my friend. Leave that part in, Bob. I like that. So I might make some friends. So breakfast, you got me for breakfast? Everybody's good? Green juice, wheatgrass, and a little bowl of grain for breakfast. Hold on, I'll get there. And then lunch. Here's your lunch. A sprouted bean, a sprouted green salad. Okay, but sprouts, include sprouts on that salad. That's important. That salad isn't complete food. The sprouts are your protein. The sprouts are your energy food. Your mungs, your lentils, your adzukis, all those sprouted beans, your alfalfa, your clover, those microgreens, throw those on a sprouted green salad. That's your lunch. If you want to have a little bit more for lunch, have some steamed veggies. Steam up some veggies, have a little bit of a potato, a baked potato, whatever. I'm not going to get into judgment on that, but go ahead. But lunch, still keep it kind of light, kind of slight, not too much. Don't go overdoing it for lunch. And how about this one? For dinner, eat whatever you want to eat. I don't care. Because if you do what I just told you for breakfast and lunch, you basically allowed your body to almost fast all day. And you've allowed your body to do that healing process. So for dinner, if you decide you want to have some cooked foods, you want to have a little bit of baked foods, whatever, I'm not going to get into it. DVD, too many people are buying this. But the bottom line is, have whatever you want for dinner, just don't eat as much as you used to, and chew your food. So be comfortable, go out with your friends, have the regular dinner that you have. Just chew it well, and if you followed this step by step for breakfast and lunch, then there you go, eat whatever you want. Because then you're kind of like me in a way, you're eating once a day. Right? You're stuffing yourself to once a day, you're getting full. And that's okay though, because it's in the evening, you're going to digest a little bit, then you're going to go to sleep. Right? And then you wake up in the morning for breakfast, breaking a fast. Anybody that's ever told you about fasting will tell you don't eat a big meal to break a fast. So how would you ever wake up in the morning and eat a big meal? Who taught you that? Who's doing that? Somebody figured out they just made a lot of money, they sold you more food, and if they sold you more food, they kept you hungry all day, right? Here's the culture. We keep you eating all day. If we get you to eat big breakfasts, we keep you eating all day. And guess what else? We keep you sick. Younger and younger, sicker and sicker. That's what happens when you're eating breakfast. Breakfast started it all. So breakfast, the most important meal of the day, was a big farce statement, but it started this whole process of eating and eating 3 times a day, and now food is our biggest industry in the culture, and guess what our second biggest industry is? Healthcare, pharmaceuticals, the medical industry, because they keep you eating so they keep you sick. Lack of food will heal your body faster than any food I would ever prescribe to you. Lack of food will heal the body faster than any food. Pharmaceuticals, and we talked about this, I want to get it on DVD though. Pharmaceutical ads, right? You've seen pharmaceutical ads? You got an ad for a pill that's 60 seconds long. The first 10 seconds of the ad, they tell you how good it is to take the pill. And for 50 seconds, they tell you how bad it is to take that pill and all the side effects. I watched one recently, and I promise you, side effects of this pill, 2 of them. One of them was increased gambling. First of all, who had the time to figure that out? Increased gambling. And another side effect of this pill was anal leakage. I'm not making that up. And I'm thinking, I got enough problems in my life. I don't want anything leaking out of me. But it's amazing. And that was side effects of these pills. And Lunesta, if you've ever seen the advertisement for Lunesta, oh my God. It not only spends 50 seconds, it literally is a 1.5-minute commercial because it has so many bad side effects. So it has to go 90 seconds to tell you how bad that pill is. Anywhere from heart attacks to strokes, they're telling you. It may happen, right? And they have that nice voice with the nice music playing. You might die from taking this pill. You know, amazing to me. But in this culture, all we heard was that first 10 seconds, right? Because we have short spans. We can only absorb so much of that information, and then we're like, oh, it's going to help for this, and then we don't hear we kind of tune out because we heard what we needed to hear. We heard what we wanted to hear, This is truth. What do the other great healers talk about? We talk about fasting. What are the other thing they talk about? Meditation, silence. Every one of the healers out there will tell you this. Meditation and silence. Why? Because I understand the definition of meditation. I can't sit in the position and cross my legs and do that for an hour, but I get what it means. It means looking inside yourself for the answer because you have the answers that you want, I don't. But we all have the same information inside of us, but you have the answers that you're looking for. You know for a fact you can ask 100 people the exact same question until someone finally tells you what? What you want to hear yourself. That's it. You're going to keep asking until someone finally tells you what you want to hear. So what is meditation? Answering your own questions. Great therapists out there will tell you, if you can't afford to go to therapy, here's free therapy. Go inside an empty room, have 2 chairs in that room, sit in one of the chairs, ask one question. Whatever's going on in your life, world, whatever problem you're having, ask that one question out loud. Wait a second, turn around, sit in that other chair, and then answer the question. Because that's the answer you're looking for. That's therapy. You only want your own truth. And again, you don't want my answers. You want your own, but I can help you. I can help you. Because I understand being silent, fasting is going to help you get to those answers. You know why? It gets you out of your head. Your head is stuck. It's science. It's in a container. Your heart is free. It's limitless. Your heart actually puts more vibrational impulses, electromagnetic impulses, whatever you want to call it these days, than your brain does. Your heart does. Your heart can heal you. Your head has a lot of power to give you stuff, to give you energy, to create all these things. If you think it, you create it, absolutely. Watch the Jill Bolte Taylor thing. It's amazing. You'll understand that a little bit better. But keep your heart clean. Keep your heart pumping. Cayenne pepper. They sell little cayenne pepper pills. That's great for blood circulation, to keep the blood flowing. Don't do it on an empty stomach. I did it one time on an empty stomach, and I was in the bathroom for 3 hours, burning. Anyway, so don't do it on an empty stomach. However, cayenne pepper is a great one for that, to keep the blood flowing, keep the circulation going. Now, there's a lot of tricks of the trade, obviously. And I'm not into saying this is magic. I'm saying lack of food heals the body faster than food. So if I can do those 2 things for you, if I can put you on a plan for breakfast and lunch, eat whatever you want for dinner, then I know you're on a good plan. I know your body's happy with you. You are almost fasting all day, every day. And your body has that chance to heal. The food doesn't heal the body heals itself. Keep that in mind. It's not a pharmaceutical. Food is not a pharmaceutical ad. Food is not there to cure you. Your body is there to help you do that. Sometimes there's certain things in food that assist with your body's natural process to take care of you. Yes, that is true. But the food, stop looking at the food as a pill. Okay, the food is just helping, is a resource to help your body tap into things that will heal the body. Take a deep breath. You had a question, Dave.
I forgot what it was.
Okay, well, I was talking about the breakfast thing, and that's when you raised your hand.
Is it better to exercise before drinking your green drinks in the morning or after?
That's a fair question. Is it better to exercise before or after your green juices? I honestly, depending on how my body was, only because I know every body's a little different, I would probably do the wheatgrass first, and then probably exercise, and then do a green juice. If I felt like, the wheatgrass just wasn't enough, I'd probably drink the wheatgrass, wait about 15 minutes, and then maybe do an 8 ounce of green juice, and then exercise, and then do another 8 ounces. If you are working out, Do you realize that most people don't work out? Most people, they think they're exercising, but really, unless you're working up a sweat and working out, you're not working out. I mean, I probably walk, 10, 12 miles a day going back and forth on that 40 acres at Hippocrates, but that's not working out. That's why I don't eat anything. I can eat once a day because I'm not active. Active working out is playing basketball for an hour, going to the gym, actually on the Stairmaster or the treadmills and getting your body running, moving. Okay, walking, not necessarily working out. It's active, it is wonderful, your body gets circulation, walking, yoga, Tai Chi, these things are exercise, yes. And it does put a lot of good stretching, a lot of good energy forces to your body, yoga, Tai Chi, all these things. And you will need some extra, you will need some green juice, some electrolytes. So yes, that's what these green drinks are all about. Okay, so if you're active and you're stretching, do an extra one. Have some extra green juice. But follow my plan for morning and breakfast. I mean breakfast and lunch, and you'll see a difference in your body. You'll feel a difference in your body. And you'll start to get more connected to heart and get out of head, get out of the science. Science needs to prove everything. Our heads need proof. But our heart already knows. The heart instinctually already has the answers. Again, watch the movie Avatar. They did a great job of showing that connection. I keep going back to that, but the truth of the matter is they showed it. They actually figured out how to show you the connection. Now they took the hair and the hair, but it doesn't have to be that. They just had to do that, I guess, so you can visually see something happening, so you understand more of the connection. But you don't have to have that. What if I'm trying to explain vibration to you? And the only way I can explain vibration is I sit there and I tell you about vibration and I say, time exists in a vibration. And so we're all existing at the same time. It's just different vibrational patterns and we just can't see it. So there's maybe things around us that are already there, but we're just not conscious of it. We're not aware of that vibration. So how do I explain that to you? I take a bungee cord right in front of you. I take a bungee cord, I stretch it, and I flip it. Well, now it's shaking, right? It looks, visually, it disappears. But it's not, it's still there. But because I've created a higher vibration, visually, it's not there anymore. So that's, again, we're just trying to bridge. We're trying to bridge information, to get information out there so that you understand the bigger picture, but now you can connect it to everybody. Because I can just go out there and be a Buddhist and say I can live vibrationally, but what does really that mean and how do I explain that? So we're trying to find people in this field, in this industry that can draw that bridge, that can help us understand, because again, we all have that information. We're already in tune with it. It's just a matter of getting out of head and letting that heart kind of understand it and allow that heart to tell the head. Don't let the head tell the heart, let the heart tell the head. And this is the mind-body connection. This is the spiritual connection. And it's not a cult, it's not a religion. It's already known, we already own it. Everybody owns it. Whatever religious thing you study, you own this fact. And that's why these programs, these wellness centers, that's why they succeed. Because if they get you to do something for 1 week, 21 days, preferably 3 weeks, 21 days. 21 days is allowing the body to get over addictions, addictive habits, taste buds to change. And what is our biggest addiction, especially in this culture? Food. We think of addictions as alcohol and tobacco and sugar and caffeine. Those are easy. Those are easy addictions to get your body off of. Food is the biggest addiction and the hardest addiction to get your body off of. And if you think about it, food is not only the biggest addiction, it is the biggest accepted drug on the planet. It is the biggest accepted drug on the planet, food. And it is everywhere. It is in gas stations, it is fast food, it is restaurants, it is supermarkets. Food is everywhere and it's fast. We think of fast food, right? Everybody wants to eat in their cars. Look at people eating in their cars. They want to eat fast. So now, not only is that bad for you to eat the fast food, but they're eating it fast. So it's even doubly worse for you. You're not chewing it enough. So food is our biggest addictive habit. I would rather get you off of heroin than get you off of food. And I don't say that lightly. It's easier. It is easier. Food is social, food is emotional, and is it our biggest addiction. And now we have people talking at dinner, talking at lunch, and now you're not eating because you're talking. Chew your food, love what you eat, enjoy what you eat, put energy into what you eat. Chew 30, 40 times. Each mouthful, chew 30 or 40 times. Chew till your jaw hurts so bad you don't want to chew anymore. But do it 30 to 40 times, and that is like putting it through the blender, but you didn't heat it up, you didn't lose anything now. Now you did it in your mouth, you did masticating, and you digested digestive enzymes. So it's a good idea to do that anyway. So with that said, it is really important to understand diet. Diet just means the body takes care of itself, but be careful. be careful diet fads, right? There's a lot of diet fads out there, and there's a lot of quick fixes that everybody thinks they're using. But eventually they don't work for everybody. But what I told you will work. What I told you actually should work for everybody. It should never work. It should always work. And if you want to eat healthy in the winter months, it's cold, it's snowing, then eat more vegan. Okay, you can still have a baked potato, some steamed veggies, some lentil soup, some rice. I mean, there's a lot of things out there to stay vegan, which vegan just means nothing meat, nothing that came from meat. Okay, so no dairy. That's the big thing. Get off of dairy. I'm telling you, get off of dairy before I tell you get off of meat. Get off of dairy first. But understand the connection of food, and if I do steam foods or heat foods, well, that's going to keep me warm in the winter. I'm going to feel a little bit better for winter eating. I put that out in my newsletter recently to understand that. But this way, it's a comfort thing too, because we do use food for comfort and it's warm. And in the winter months when it's cold, change your lights to OT lights, to full spectrum lights. That'll help, and have some warmer foods for the winter months. Because the poles are changing. When I was a kid, and I'm sorry about this, but this is what I heard as a child in my school. They said, if the earth moves just 1 degree, we're screwed. And they literally announced it on not only websites, they're telling people on the news these days that the magnetic pole is moving 40 miles now. And who knows how long it has been doing that. They're just telling you now that it's doing that, but I figured somebody saw it already. So if the magnetic pole changes, guess what? I mean, the earth is shifting, something's going on. Weather, you see the weather things changing. Now again, you're watching this DVD and it's 2014, amen, we made it, whatever, we didn't know. But this is important just to visualize now that, yeah, the earth is shifting. It's not a bad thing, it's an adjustment. And the earth is trying to adjust. Think of Mother Nature, you think of hurricanes and tornadoes and tsunamis. If you ever got something on your skin, if something landed on your skin, what would you do instantly? Right? First thing you would do. Especially if it was hurting you, it was attacking, it was biting you. That's your reaction. What do you think Mother Earth is doing? It's doing the exact same thing. The tornadoes, the hurricanes, the tsunamis, all it's trying to do is wash us off. Is say that now we're bothering it and we've caused a lot of problems, and as gently as she can, she is telling us, change our ways. Do something different. Here's a tsunami, here's a hurricane. Let me turn your power off to let you understand what it was when we didn't have power. That's what we need to get back to. Would anybody in here turn their power off for one day? Yeah, good. You people are conscious, that's probably why you're here. That's amazing. Because that's what the hurricanes are doing for us. They're allowing us to turn off power and to understand what it was to communicate with other people again. And to get off the internet, that's not real. That's not real. And because look at all the information out there. You can think of anything and type it in the internet, you'll find it. So how is that real when you can find anything you think of? That's not real. It's not facting anything. It's facting exactly what you're thinking. So it doesn't really help you because you already have the thought. Go with it. The medical field does the 50-50 thing to you. You go in the medical field and they'll say, we're going to give you chemo, we're going to give you radiation. There's a 50-50 chance that it's going to work. 50-50? You told me nothing. You said there's the exact same amount this way as there is this way. You didn't even give me 51-49. 50-50 means nothing. So I'd rather not do it in that case. So take a deep breath. Oxygen, first thing you need, right? Greens on the planet. Not only you encourage people to grow greens to get more oxygen in their homes, encourage them to drink greens, allow the chlorophyll to help the hemoglobin distribute oxygen. If you go to oxygen bars, don't have chocolate flavored oxygen. Don't let oxygen define your happiness. I said it with food. Don't let food define your happiness. Don't let doctors define your time on this existence in this planet Earth. Don't let someone tell you you have an expiration date. You don't. You can survive. Just understand we have to get off of our addictions. And sometimes we need help, we need support. I think that's what all of us in this room now need to understand, that we are the support network now. You can email me, you can ask questions, and I'll write you back. I'll do the newsletter as much as I can to get this information, the support out there constantly. Go to Chris Carr and go to crazysexylife.com. That's going to be information positive and uplifting, right? You'd rather hang out with someone positive than someone negative. Is there a difference between rude and polite? No, it's only the perception of that action. That's only in your head. You create rude and polite. I didn't create it for you. You already have it. So let it go. Take a deep breath. Go ahead, free. Make sure I'm finished with my slides. You already have got Sprouts. You got Sean's information. I thank Sean, Joseph, Sandy, everybody that was here this weekend that helped out. Inspirations, wonderful people, good heart people. I couldn't have asked for a better turnout. I couldn't have asked for a better crowd and a better group of people teaching. Everything worked out. The food, I mean, I kind of screwed you on some juice, but what are you going to do? You can send me an email and ask for $5 back. I don't know, whatever you're going to do. But to wrap this up and encourage you to keep this up, don't get frustrated, don't get down. If you're having a hard time growing, send me a picture of the problem. I can fix it. I can tell you what's going on. You have me behind you now. You always have. I mean, I always do that. I give out free information all the time. My website has most of the answers on it anyway, wheatgrassgreenhouse.com. It has most of the answers on there, but again, send me a picture if you're not sure what to do. If you get into the business and you want me to come to your area and help you, I will. I mean, I think this DVD and this lecture did it all for you, but I can still come to your area and set you up. I can do it with my eyes closed, and I enjoy doing that. I enjoy doing this kind of thing. I don't want to be just this wheatgrass guy anymore, so the wellness idea obviously is something I'm more excited about right now in my life, to go to the Redwoods, to start in California, maybe to get involved with Chris Carr, and hopefully the crazy sexy wellness idea takes off, and to go to Cabo now, it seems. So maybe I end up in Cabo for a while. Is that where Sammy Hagar has his Cabo Wabo? Because I'd like to try that. I will make a new wheatgrass and Cabo shot with some green juice. It'll make people sick, but you know what? What are you going to do? Take a deep breath. Look, you got to have some fun in this too. You know, don't be serious all the time. Have some fun. Play with it. Create different things. You can grow a tray that has some sunflower, some peas, some wheatgrass, and a tray. You can do 4 little things all in one tray. You know, make little quarters. Be creative. Grow lentils. Grow mung beans as greens. See how they work, and try those in your green juice. You know, I actually grew mung beans for about a month because I couldn't get peas. So I used mung beans and grew them as greens and put those in the green juice. It looks the same. It tastes the same. Nobody knew the difference. The quality of it is just. Did I just say that on camera? But it was just as good. Ann Wigmore was working on mung bean greens before she passed away. She was actually growing mung beans into a green. Yes, so thank you all for purchasing this DVD. Don't forget to check out my website, and thank you all for listening to me today, and for the group that is here for this DVD. I appreciate you, and thank you for coming to for this workshop this weekend. So thanks.